First off, this is a sponsored segment by Samyang. So thank you so much for being our first sponsor, Samyang. This is a segment all about why you only need 3 lenses. And uh, for pro camera reviews, we're following really the same philosophy that we have with our website. Whenever we do something that's sponsored, we're actually saying something still from our heart. We're not bending any truths or anything else like that. Paul has worked on sponsored pieces. Brett has worked on sponsored pieces. So, they can really back me up on this. Plus, in addition to that, anyone that's read the site for a really long time will also very much back me up on this. So this is a segment about why you only really need 3 prime lenses. And I mean, I'm a guy that really only shoots with primes, and I own a couple of camera systems, and I really only have like 3 prime lenses, and that's really all I have. Brett, I think, has zooms, and then Paul, you don't have any zooms, right, Paul? You just have primes?
The only time I really shoot with zooms is when I'm reviewing them.
Yeah, so you don't own any.
Although I may soon.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah. But me, I don't own any zooms. It's just prime lenses. And my philosophy always been to go for 35, 50, and then 85. If you've read the site for a while, you know that I don't really like the 50mm lens and the field of view. I think the only one that I really like is the Canon 50 1.2 for RF series. But otherwise, I've always been let me go a little wider, or let me go a little more telephoto, or telephoto. Yes, that's correct. So I've been looking at Samyang's philosophy on this. So they have an 18mm f2.8, which is really small. Let me give you some scale here. So actually, no, chapstick. This is chapstick, right? You all know how big chapstick is. This is their 18. Pretty small, right? This is their 45 1.8. I'm sorry, no, this is actually their 18. That was their 45. Pretty small, once again. And this is their 75 1.8. When I was having talks with Samyang, they were calling this their tiny series. And these lenses are pretty tiny.
They almost remind me of the old school Zeiss primes.
I was gonna say a little bit like that. They feel a little bit like the old school Canon EF primes, not the L series ones, because first off, none of these lenses are over $400.
Wow.
Yeah, nice. They're all super affordable. As a result, they don't have the build quality of their higher end lenses, obviously, but they're still incredibly affordable, and you get quite a bit out of it. So much so that the autofocus performance is pretty much up there with Tamron and Sony's. I'd say it's a little bit better than Sigma's, but you don't get the full benefits of the lock-on AF and stuff like that. But you still can, let's say you want to pan with something, you can have one autofocus point, and then you can pan with a subject, and it will still keep the subject very much in focus. But I wouldn't really see myself doing that with an 18, a 45, or a 75. Maybe a 45 for street, but even then I'd be probably stopping down anyway.
Do they all share? It looks like they're pretty similar. You said they all share the same front filter.
Do they all share the same front filter ring? That is a great question. So which one is this? The 45 is a 49mm filter thread.
Oh, that's tiny.
Yeah, this is a 58, which is the 18mm.
Okay.
And then the 75 is a 58 as well, too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they're all very small. Incredibly. Actually, let me do this.
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That almost looks like you put a APS-C E-mount lens on your full frame E-mount camera.
Yeah, but there's full frame coverage. That's what's really awesome about this. Yeah. Now, one of the reasons you guys are saying that, one of the reasons why I really like small lenses are because you can put them in your bag and you can throw them in and you can go anywhere. Especially when you are traveling, once all of this COVID-19 mess really figures itself out, hopefully it figures itself out, you can throw the lenses in your camera bag and you can just go. And that goes for more than just traveling. It goes for, let's say, for example, I've been using these lenses a lot when I've been walking around. So, for example, I do a lot of photo walks, And in addition to that too, I've recently been like looking for my own apartments recently. So I've been going into different boroughs and I've been shooting with these things, and it's like, hey, you know, I have to pack all these other things. Like sometimes I might want to pack some Lysol, or sometimes I might want to pack gloves, or like an extra N95 mask, or hand sanitizer or something else like that. So I can put these 3 lenses in with the camera, and I still have so much extra room in my small camera bag. And I don't really want to bring something really, really big because I don't really want to bring a lot of gear with me. Now, the other really cool thing, besides the autofocus and besides the affordable price on these things, is the image quality. Samyang, and I mean, you guys can sort of back me up on this. When you sit there and you look at an image from like a Sony lens and a Tamron lens and a Rokinon lens or a Sigma lens, they all have like these distinct qualities about them, like saturation or like contrast or something else.
Colors.
Yeah, exactly. Samyang has that, and they didn't sacrifice in this case. The image quality is really fantastic. So let me bring up a couple images right now. So these are, I'm going to share this first. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay. These are from the 18. And these are me walking around. This is me. So distortion isn't really that bad. The profile from Capture One, it's not really in there yet. When I brought it in, it thought that it was like the Zeiss Batiste lens. But I'm not really sure I would necessarily use this for real estate. Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is.
It's got character.
It's got character, but also like look at the screens. Like it's like built-in clarity almost.
Yeah. It's not rectilinear, is it?
No, it's not rectilinear. I think, you know, it's too affordable of a lens to really be rectilinear. But it's still really good.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
You could like on that that last image, you could kind of see a little tiny bit of like pin cushioning if you look on the right.
Yeah.
Most people aren't gonna notice. Like we're jerks because we do this for a living. But most
Well, you're a
people
jerk, but
know.
I'm not. Yeah. No real. I mean, you see it a little bit over here on the left. But yeah, you're right about that. You don't really see a whole lot of major distortion problems.
Right.
And these are me like shooting interiors and also shooting exteriors.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Also, if you're shooting raw, you could correct that at Capture One super easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we've really liked. I mean, the entire staff shoots with Capture One, and edits with Capture One, sorry. So yeah, these are me going around. Gyro World is amazing, by the way, especially if you're in Astoria.
I haven't had dinner yet. You just made me real hungry.
That's a you problem. Anyway,
Frozen rabbits from Spain. Where is that?
Yeah. When I was going around taking all these photos, I was just like, hey, this is pretty interesting. I'll just shoot it.
Tastes like chicken.
Does rabbit taste like chicken? I don't think
a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it does a really great job with interiors and with exteriors. So let me switch over. Let me stop the share. And let me switch over to the 45.
Someone just asked if the ones before were all from the 18.
Yes, they are all from the 18. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are from the 45, and some of these were product images that I was shooting for. This is one instant. We talked about this in the last show. I didn't really like that film too much.
Pour one out for that film.
Yeah, but the 45-1.8 has this really beautiful bokeh still. And overall, just like really great sharpness. This isn't even a flash test. This is it with, this was with the Litra Torch.
Yes.
Yeah. Still beautiful bokeh. Still really a lot of sharpness. Still the face detection works, even on prints, which is awesome.
Wow. That's pretty sharp.
Yeah.
These are nice. Really nice.
This, I decided, you know, I like doing torture tests. So I put the Litra inside a glass of water, and that's what's illuminating everything. And then I decided I'd just pour it on my Seiko. Yeah. And the Seiko will obviously resist. So these are the 45-1.8 once again. And the autofocus was both incredibly quick, and in addition to that, I'm just sitting there shooting, and I'm just like, wow, this is actually like really beautiful and nice and just simple to shoot with. I didn't really have any major problems.
Wow, this image almost looks like you shot it with like an old M-Mat lens.
Yeah, it's got some character to it, and I really like that. There's another image where I'm going to show you where I think there's even more character. Not there yet. Keep going through. Where is it? Those are more product images. That's someone who literally tied a grill to a bus stop.
That's like the most New York thing ever.
That's so New York, man. I was about to say. This has a lot of character to it. This isn't the image I was going to show you, but like this still, like you can tell by the colors.
Wait,
Like
they got the bus back?
I think so.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those colors are gorgeous on that shot. I
Yeah,
love
this
that.
one. This one.
Oh,
yes.
man.
Yes. Yes, please.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and this is an under $400 lens.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Also-
so I mean,
so-
in terms of use, you know, I'm talking about image quality right now, but like there's 35, there's 50, and then there's 85. But when you sit there and you think about it in terms of like 45 millimeter, it's not a 35, it's not a 50, but it's in between. So you have something that's very, very close. And I mean, if you're a Pentax shooter, you probably know about the legendary 43 millimeter. Brett, you most likely know about that.
I love that lens. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is close, and this is the closest thing that you can get to true normal as well, too. I see we have some questions in the chat.
I think people were just confused about which lens we're currently talking about. This one is the 45 millimeter f1.8.
Yeah, this is the 45 millimeter f1.8. And, you know, you still get that normal-ish look. You get something a little bit wider than 50, which I like, because sometimes there are situations where I find 50 either to be not long enough or too long. And 45 is a very nice in between.
Christina's asking which camera you shot these with.
Great question. Sony A7R3. And that goes the same with the 18 millimeter as well too. And the 18 millimeter, like, I mean, I feel like that's really cool because it's something that actually gives you like a true wide. And I feel like sometimes we're missing that. Like 35, I feel is very similar to what at least I see. 28 is also very similar to what I see. 24 could be a good one, but sometimes I also feel that's not even wide enough. Like I've had this talk over with Paul sometimes. Sometimes he's needed something that's like 14 to 24 or 12 to 24. Like, you know, we just got with Sony. 18?
That's the zoom that I'm saving up for.
Yeah, but 18 is also pretty damn good. And once again, these are more from the 45. These lenses are not weather sealed. Just letting you know that once again.
I mean, it's also under $500. So.
Yeah, it's under $400.
Oh,
So that's even better.
Wow.
Yeah, and the one image I haven't really shot a lot of with it yet. Let me see. This is the one image that I had from the 75. Still pretty nice colors.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I sit there and I think about it, like, you have the option of these lenses. They're all under $400. They all focus very quickly. You're not getting the full capabilities of, like, other lenses and manufacturers that work with Sony, but you're still getting quite a bit of them. If you don't care about weather sealing, and most people are not a psychopath like me and you guys on staff, where we go out in the rain and we shoot. Brett, I don't really think you go out very much in the rain and shoot as much as me and Paul do.
We don't get as much rain as you guys.
No, that's a great point.
Well, honestly, we haven't been getting much rain until this past week here either.
Yeah, but yesterday, like, I went outside and I'm like, I'm going to go shoot with this lens at 8 p.m. And suddenly I'm like, oh, wait, no, it's not weather sealed. I got to go back inside.
You're sending the camera to pro support if you do that.
Exactly. So I wouldn't do that with these lenses, but they're still pretty well built. I mean, I've put them in my camera bags, and as I've commuted around, like, they survived. And I mean, as I said, they're built like the original Canon EF lenses, so you're okay. But what you're really getting, once again, is the image quality. If that's really what you care about, you know, I don't really see why you'd sit there and complain. Like,
Yeah, they definitely have some character to it.
Yeah, and that's what I like. Like a lot of the other lenses that I've seen these days, they're having the character engineered out of it, and I don't really like that.
Yeah.
But these still have it.
Yeah, it's too pristine and clean. That's why, like you know, like you guys know, like I have a collection of vintage lenses for that reason.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I intentionally don't want my images to be that clean.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I agree.
it becomes so sterile in a sense, you know?
Yeah, they're too clinical, and it's funny. It's actually one of the reasons why I still shoot with Pentax is because of the character of their lenses. It's so important. It could make such a huge difference to your images.
Yeah, it's that like almost intangible quality that sometimes people, when you look at older images, they're like, oh wow, like it looks so different. Like why is it so different? Well, because a lot of these had inherent flaws, but
Hmm.
the photographers embrace these flaws. They learn to work with it, you know. And
I think that's very important that we
Yeah.
actually sit there.
it,
And,
it is it goes back to the true essence of creating versus capturing.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. But either way, also, what I should also let you guys know, face detection does work with these lenses, which is great. I was actually trying to do like my own portrait shoot of myself in my apartment, but I was having problems with the Bluetooth on my camera, and unfortunately, I have to resync it. But it doesn't really work as well in my apartment. I probably have to go to like my rooftop to do that. But
Better take advantage of the rooftop while you have it.
yeah, I know. I only have the rooftop for like 2 more weeks. But either way, like when I was doing these tests, and as I showed with the 45 millimeter, it will autofocus on the eyes, which is great as well too. So that's another thing about 75 millimeters. Like 75 millimeters, it's not 85. It's a little bit wider, and sometimes if you're in a city, 85 can actually feel very tight. So if you have a 75 millimeter, you're still getting a lot of that compression, but you're not getting as much as you would from an 85, and that's fine.
It's a perfectly usable focal length for portraits too. Just from personal experience, when I first switched to Sony, it was on a crop body, so I was using the 50-1.8 a lot, and you know you're getting a full frame equivalent of 75 millimeters, and you know those portraits, like to this day, people still comment on those images.
And you know what? These days, I feel like anything beyond 55 is pretty good for portraits, no matter what. Maybe even beyond 50 millimeters is pretty good.
It's. I mean, you just have to know how to work with different focal lengths.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, these are the lenses. Together, you know, they're gonna cost you less than $1,200.
Nice.
And they are the yeah, Christine is one of our readers is saying, wow, they're actually very affordable.
Mhm.
An 18 millimeter f2.8.
That's a wee little thing.
Yeah, it's really tiny. And then you have a 45 millimeter f1.8.
They're both look super tiny.
Yeah, they're called the tiny series. And then you have a 75 millimeter f1.8. So together you
That's
have these
awesome.
3 lenses. And if you really want to be a troll, you can say, hey, you know, they're L glass because they have that little red ring on them. But I would not recommend
Oh,
that you sit there
jeez.
and be a troll about that. But either way, like I'm enjoying these lenses. I'm still working on my actual review of them. I don't really have a whole lot of problems, especially for the price point. You can't really sit there and you complain. Yeah, that's really about it. We don't have any other questions, right? It seems like people are actually really happy with these results, actually, from the images.
So we got a bunch of comments.
Setup, she's saying. Oh, walk around setup. Yes. These are a great light walk around setup. If you have 2 cameras, and I don't know very many people that sit there and they photo walk with 2 cameras, you probably could do that. I've been using these mostly on the A7R3, but I have putting them on the regular A7 that I have, and they've still worked perfectly fine. So yeah. Brett, you have any questions or anything else like that, or Paul?
No, just I think these would be, it's like the perfect little prime trinity for anybody just getting into photography, even just for the price point. They look fantastic.
Yeah, plus I mean they're deviant from the traditional 35, 50, and 85, and I think that, you know, in some ways, at least on the wider end, that's more useful. Some people on the portrait end, they might want something a little bit longer, but either way, 75 is perfectly usable.
Well, anything longer than like 75 or 85, and you're gonna need quite a bit of room. You know, like
Yeah,
135 is another favorite of mine, but
you
that's
need a lot of room.
yeah. I rarely use that unless I'm shooting outdoors.
I mean, what you could do is like you can get like that close to your subject, pretty much, and just shoot a
I
photo.
mean, I have used it for tight headshots,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, you pair these three with the A7 III, and that's still less than what I paid for my A7R4.
yeah. There you go. That's a
Yeah,
great
but
way.
not
of
everyone needs a resolution. Like, don't let resolution count be the only factor in you deciding what camera to get.
Yeah. And even with this, like the 40, this has 46 or 47 megapixels. I'm trying to remember.
Which one? R3?
Yeah, the R3
42.
42. Yeah,
42.7.
yeah, that's right. I'm thinking Panasonic.
Yeah.
And then the A7R4 has like
51
60,
point
61. Yeah. You
Yeah,
still get a lot of megapixels.
I still have my R3. I still don't know what I want to do with it. I might convert it for full spectrum.
Yeah, you might as well. I thought you sold it.
Nah. I sold my R2.
Yeah. I do remember that. The R3 is actually still a great camera. Like I use it all the time. I didn't really have a major reason to upgrade. I might do it for the next one, but yeah. But either way, I mean, like
I just like it for the new grip, man. And yeah, the new grip is great.
Yeah.
Also,
well,
the fact that I can change the AF reticle to red and green.
that's a big one.
Yeah.
I really wish I could do that. You know, sometimes when I sit there and I look at this, I'm like, huh, where's the reticle? Oh, there it is. I have to.
Yeah.
Put it back
Sometimes
in
I have to like purposely just kind of half press the shutter just so like it would show up, and then I know where it is. I found that to be a quicker way to just finding it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, either way, that is just letting you guys know once again, in full transparency, that is a sponsored segment from Samyang, but we are speaking the truth about it, and we are speaking absolutely transparently about it. That's usually what we do here on the website. We've been doing it for 11 years, and thank you, Samyang, for helping sponsor this show and keeping it going. That's really about it for the segment then, right, guys? Nothing else?
I believe so.
That's it.
Yeah. And we address all the questions, it seems like.
No, Jose Puente wants to have a random question about the R5 and R6.
Stay tuned for next week's episode of Pro Camera Reviews.
Yeah, we'll probably have the units in at that point. But yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it then, guys, right? We're all set?
I think so.
All right. Then in that case, thank you everyone for tuning in on Facebook and on Zoom. Please join us every week here on Pro Camera Reviews. We love you and have a good night.